Good morning everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again today sa ating Google Hangout series. I know medyo matagal tayong nawala dito sa sa program natin which used to be weekly, bi-weekly. Medyo naging busy rin kasi. Pero we're happy to be back and to be tackling an subject that is interesting to many people. And we're very fortunate today to have with us si Sir Benj who's, had several um, guest appearances na dito sa webinar series natin. Thank you so much, sir, for always lending your time sa amin. Lalo na dito sa subject na to kasi hindi talaga ako expert sa featured snippet optimization. Meron akong mga case studies ng mga napa-featured snippets namin pero I wouldn't call myself an expert. What I'll be discussing today would be more of anecdotes sa experiences namin in being successful with featured snippets, and I'm hoping na the ones among you who have not yet had success, baka meron kayong mapulot na one or two things na pwede nyo magamit sa day-to-day jobs nyo. I'm sure there are a lot of other people here, even in this call lang, na mas expert sa akin sa featured snippet optimization. So kung meron kayong mga tips na ma-share, I would invite you guys to share it with us. Pwede naman kayo mag-type sa chat box na me or I want to share something, ganyan. We will give you your time in the spotlight, so to speak, to talk about your experiences. So yeah, today we'll talk about featured snippet optimization. Siguro just a brief overview on what featured snippets are. Well, definition lang naman to ng mods, no need to create my own. But basically, the featured snippet is the search result that appears just below the ads for some queries, especially for questions. Usually sa mga patanong na query lumalabas yan, so medyo long tail. And usually, their aim is to provide a quick answer to the searcher. Medyo naging controversial yung featured snippets nung una siyang lumabas kasi people, especially SEOs, thought that Google was trying to keep all the traffic to itself. Meaning, kung naghahanap ka lang ng lyrics ng kanta, kung naghahanap ka lang ng anong date ba ang Thanksgiving, anong date ba ang US election day, there will be no more need for users to click on a search result because Google would display the answer automatically on the search result page itself. So up to now, ginagawa pa rin siya ni Google despite protests from some SEOs and some webmasters. Pero ang sagot lang kasi ni Google doon, kung ayaw niyo ayaw niyo yung featured snippet, pwede niyo namang index yung mga page nyo o lagyan ng no snippet na Meta Robots tag. But basically medyo douchey na answer pero you have to play by Google's rules because you're playing in its playground. So it is what it is. Having said that, dahil nandyan na nga yung mga featured snippets and they look like they are here to stay because Google said that it's transitioning or already transitioned in from search engine to a knowledge engine, meaning gusto niya lumalabas na talaga yung mga sagot na hinahanap ng tao doon, and if that involves improving the user experience by not having the user go through the website, then so be it, and the webmasters will have the choice whether they want to participate in it or not. Pero kami ni Sir Benj as SEO practitioners, I think medyo same lang naman yung attitude namin dyan na kesa sa iba mapunta yung featured snippet, mabuti pang ikaw na. So maglalagay din naman ng featured snippet si Google with or without your participation eh. So kesa yung competitor mo yung makauna dun sa search results using a featured snippet, ikaw na. So there are three main types of featured snippets. The first one they call the paragraph, which is basically itong nasa taas, itong nasa kaliwa. So if you type who is the owner of Uber, it gives you the name of the person plus a quick paragraph talking about it. Meron din naman katulad nitong nasa taas na yung mga list types. So if you're looking for things like the best headsets for gamers, you should be able to see in some queries a list of options if you want to, if you're in the market for headset, and especially if you're a gamer. Pwede rin maklasify dyan yung mga numbered na lists, hindi lang yung mga bullet point, because a numbered list implies na there is a certain order. So if say you're looking for the recipe of sinigang na hipon, baka ang makuha mong featured snippet may mga number, kasi may steps yung pagluluto nun, may procedure. Whereas if you're looking for say the best SEO agencies in the Philippines, maaring hindi naka-order yung list, maaring naka bullet points lang siya. And then finally, there's the table. If the answer is best served in tabular form and not in a paragraph form, or not in a list form, Google usually adapts this one. Although, ang pinaka sanay yung mata natin dyan, yung paragraph form tsaka yung list form. So, I wanted to make more time for Sir Benj's discussion. So yung sa akin ngayon, direct to the point, how to optimize for featured snippets in 6 steps. Straight away, na tayo, baratan na natin. So the first step, if you want to rank for a featured snippet, would be to perform keyword research. So specifically, what you want to do is you want to know what the fathead and the chunky middle type of keywords are in your industry. Ibig sabihin ng fathead na keywords, these are usually keywords that are top of the funnel. Hindi masyadong explicit yung intent behind the keyword, but they carry a large search volume. So for example, men's shoes or Korean makeup, those are, fat head type of keywords na mataas yung search volume pero hindi mo alam kung gusto bang bumili ng Korean makeup niyan, gusto lang niya mag-research sa Korean makeup, gusto niyang gumawa ng sarili niyang Korean style makeup. Marami yung posibleng intent dun sa mga keywords na yon. That's why they're usually low converting keywords but they drive massive amounts of traffic if you rank for them. Other than fathead keywords, you also would want to look at chunky middle type of keywords, usually 3 to 4, minsan 3 to 5 keywords kung mahaba yung main keyword mo. So, tipong buy men's shoes or buy Korean makeup, medyo mas may intent, medyo mas mahaba, pero competitive pa rin. Ganun yung tipo ng mga chunky middle na keywords. So, what do you use to discover keywords like these? Well, the first thing you'll want to use, of course, is your head and your familiarity with the industry and the website. So list down the keywords that you are targeting and then use tools such as Google Keyword Planner, SEMrush, Moses Keyword Explorer to identify permutations and extended versions of that keyword. So ang gagawin mo pag nakuha mo na yung mga keywords na medyo may magandang search volume plus relevant dun sa sa keyword mo, sa industry mo, and then maganda yung intent at swak dun sa gusto mong mga actions na i-produce ng users sa website mo, then you finalize those keywords. So what would be the next step after you identify your fathead and chunky middle type of keywords? So the next step is to formulate questions based on these keywords. Meaning, tipong kunyari Korean makeup, ano yung mga tanong na pwedeng magmula sa base keyword na Korean makeup? So it could be something like, where can I buy Korean makeup in the Philippines? Or where to buy Korean makeup? Or what brands of Korean makeup are the best? Yung mga ganong tipong keywords. So, ang pwede mong tignan para kung medyo nakapaglista ka na off the top of your head ng mga questions based on those keywords, what you'll want to do is use a variety of tools to expand the list of questions that you have based on the keywords. So what can you do? Uh, Number one na tip ko would be to look at industry FAQs, look at your website, look at your competitors' websites, and then tignan nyo kung may FAQs sila. Ano yung mga questions dun sa FAQs? And then, based on those questions, is this question something I would want to rank for at gusto ko bang lumabas yung featured snippet ko pag tinanong yung question na yun sa Google? If the answer is yes, then shortlist it and then try to create content that responds to that particular question. If not, then feel free to skip it. Another thing that you can do in order to formulate more questions would be to interview industry experts. I'm sure every company has one of that. So, kunyari, apparel, yung binebenta nung kumpanya nyo, or kahit something na mas technical pa, for example, data center equipment, talk to the subject matter experts in your company and then ask them what the usual questions are na tinatanong sa kanila ng mga customers, ng mga nag-i-inquire, and then create content based on those questions. And then dun sa sa mga search results ng Google na may kinalaman dun sa keywords nyo or other questions dun sa keywords nyo, mapapansin nyo naman palagi dun sa ibaba or sa middle portion, people also ask may question na ganun. And then there are questions plus short answers to the questions. So what you can do is try and ask those questions sa Google and then tingnan mo kung kaninong featured snippet yung lumalabas. Kung wala pang lumalabas na featured snippet, then it might be an opportunity for you to create content that is super high quality, responds well to that question, and then try to rank for the featured snippet for that query. Kung meron naman na nagra-rank for that question na featured snippet, then it's an opportunity for you to steal. Regardless, what you want to do is check the people also ask section kasi bibigyan kanya ng insights kung anong topics yung mga laging sinesearch ng mga tao, ano yung pain points ng mga tao, ano yung mga research points nila. So there's a lot that you can pick up dun sa Google, dun sa people also ask na section ng Google. And then lastly, I also like SEMrush's question tool. Meron siyang tool na ganyan na if you punch a keyword sa loob ng SEMrush, it can show you questions based on that keyword. So our content team really likes this tool kasi it allows them to generate more topics about the keyword. Kung hindi man topic worthy of writing about in a standalone article, it can be a topic that is written about as a subsection in a bigger article. So yun yung mga bagay na pwede nyong tignan. So sa screenshot sa right, tawag dito, like just off the top of my head, example lang ng tawag dito, ng isang question type na query based sa isang chunky middle na keyword would be pag nag-research kasi kayo, and I know a lot of you here are SEOs, or otherwise why would you be listening to this show? Marami sa inyo nakapag keyword research na siguro about things that would drive leads and customers to SEO freelancers and SEO agencies in the Philippines. Medyo pare-pareho lang naman yan. May 10 taon na ako nag-SEO. Pare-pareho lang yan. Tipong SEO Company Philippines, SEO Agency Philippines, SEO Services Philippines, SEO Expert Philippines. So, based dun sa keyword na SEO Expert Philippines, which I know I already ranked for, tinignan ko lang, what if I formulate a question based on the keyword SEO Expert Philippines? And then, ngayon lang, pag ginugel mo, who is the SEO expert in the Philippines, lalabas yung featured snippet na ako daw, sabi ng Google. Hindi naman lahat ng sinasabi ng Google ay tama, and obviously, in this particular instance, hindi naman tama itong featured snippet niya. Pero sinasabi ko lang sa inyo kung gaano kadaling mag-rank for these kinds of keywords. lalo na kung patanong yung query, and then you have the corresponding content that might rank for it. Okay, so the next thing you'll want to do is okay. So number 3, ito yung medyo pinaka-challenging part ng pagra-rank for featured snippets. And there is no ifs and buts about this. There is no getting around this. Kailangan mo mag-rank para dun sa keyword na yon, dun sa base keyword. Hindi mo pwedeng asahan na makuha mo yung featured snippet nung nasa third page ka pa. Kasi bakit ibibigay sa iyo ng Google? Ang daming mas nagra-rank sa iyo para sa keyword na yon. So, ang recommended ko makapag-rank ka within the top 5 para may chance ka na makuha mo yung featured snippet. Top 3 kung kaya mo. Kasi sobrang dalang na nung beyond sa top 5 yung organic search result mo. Tapos ikaw yung ma-featured snippet unless na medyo bopols yung mga nauuna sa'yo sa rankings, and then walang direct na response dun sa content nila for that query. Pero more often than not, meron eh. Dun sa senaryong yon, pwedeng kahit 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ka, baka pwedeng manakaw mo yung featured snippet. Pero malabo, number 1. And number 2, pag nakita nilang nagra-rank ka doon tapos mababa ka lang, edit lang nila yung content nila, mo-modify ng konti para mabawi sa yung featured snippet. So, there's no getting around it. Kailangan talagang mag-rank ka, if possible, within the top 3 para mas may chance ka. Usually, yung top 1 talaga yung nabibigyan, pero mahirap naman i-guarantee yung top 1 eh. So, strive na at least nasa top 3 ka para makuha mo yung featured snippet. And then, number 4, dito tayo mas magtatagal. So, nagra-rank ka na sa organic pero hindi mo pa nakuha yung featured snippet. Ano yung mga pwede mong gawin para sa para ma-increase mo yung chances mo? Marami sa atin, lalo na sa Pilipinas, iniisip na links ang sagot sa lahat ng problema sa buhay ng SEO. Pero when it comes to featured snippet optimization, links are useful for ranking, of course, kasi kung nagra-rank ka nga, mas malaking chances na featured snippet ka. Pero hindi links ang sagot para sa featured snippet per se. Links only help but they're not the answer. Proper formatting is the single most correlated element to being in the featured snippet section. So in this case, ano yung mga tips ko para sa formatting tsaka sa style ng content nyo para kayo yung mga featured snippet? The first one would be to keep it simple, stupid. Ano yan? Kasabihan yan sa journalism school. Pag umpisa kayong nagsusulat ng news articles, ang unang ituturo sa inyo sa journalism school would be to keep your sentences in the active voice, to keep them short, to eliminate unnecessary words, and then to be direct to the point. Avoid commas as much as possible. Usually, ako, ang pinipreach ko rin sa writers namin, pag yung sentence mo, meron ng more than 1 comma, more often than not, masyado ng komplikado yan. Usually, ang simpleng sentence at most, may isang comma lang yan. Unless na nag-enumerate ka ng mga bagay-bagay. When it comes to word count, si SEMrush, naglabas siya ng study where it analyzed, I think, more than 10 million search results pages. They concluded that for the most part, yung mga pages na nagra-rank sa featured snippet box only have 40 to 60 words representing it for that particular answer. So, for example, dito sa example natin, where is Lake Erie, which is one of the Great Lakes in the US. If you observe the featured snippet and the answer, nandun siya sa range na yun, 40 to 60 words. Hindi ibig sabihin na yung landing page mo na nagta-target nung featured snippet na yon is only 40 to 60 words. That's stupid. Walang masyadong nagrarang na pages na 40 to 60 words lang para sa mga competitive na keywords. Yung 40 to 60 words na sinasabi dito would be your answer to the question or to the keyword that you are trying to optimize for. Meaning, wala kang masyadong leeway para ma-sidetrack dun sa sa response mo. Make it as direct as possible. Tipong, sino ang pumatay kay Andres Bonifacio? Dapat ang sagot mo, si Andres Bonifacio ay hinuli at inexecute ng pangkat ni Emilio Aguinaldo, bla 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 bla. Pasensya na sa mga taga Cavite, yun lang yung nabasa ko sa history books. Kung di totoo, feel free to contest it, not here. I don't want to hear it. Okay. Second na tip ko would be, have a TLDR section. Sa mga hindi familiar masyado sa internet parlance, ang ibig sabihin ng TLDR is too long, didn't read. Marami sa mga nagsesend ng messages or nagpo-post ng comments, yan lang naisip ko. TLDR. Kaya pag magtatanong kayo sa akin ng SEO question, huwag niyo akong babanatan ng 3 paragraphs worth ng question at background. Pasimplihin niyo lang. Hindi ko babasahin lahat yun. Masyado akong busy para dyan. Bakit mahalaga yung meron kang TLDR section? Itong example na to is from IGN. It's about the best gaming monitors for the PS5. Yung mga gamers sa inyo, you already know this, that next week, maglo-launch na yung PS5 ng Sony. And a lot of people are asking what kind of TV or what kind of monitor is appropriate for that console because it's super powerful, super high-end. So naglabas si IGN ng guide about that one. Pero unlike the typical article na umpisa pa lang, tipong Acer Predator and then mahabang explanation, image, and then Asus ROG something something, image, and then several paragraphs, and then the next item. Ang ginawa niya para sa mga taong tinatamad na tingnan lahat yon at mag-scroll down, sa taas pa lang, after pa lang ng first paragraph, meron na siyang TLDR section kung saan naka-bullet points na yung mga recommended nilang monitors. And then may jump links na lang dito which will take you to that particular section of the page if you want to read about it. Why is this useful? This is useful because si Google nahihirapan siyang i-pick up, especially ganito, ang katapat nito list type na featured snippet kung saan naka bullet point or naka number yung mga ipapakita ni Google sa users. Pag masyadong maraming text na kasama yung isang bullet point or isang number, and then ilang paragraphs na after nun, dun pa lang yung next na bullet point or next na number. And then nagkataon na nagkaroon ng mga smaller numbers or sub-bullet points dun sa katawan ng mga text dun sa unang bullet point. Maaaring hindi na maintindihan ni Google at hindi niya gawing featured snippet. This one, the part over here, which is the TLDR section, simplifies everything for Google, and then it has the appropriate heading stating that these are the best gaming monitors or gaming TVs for PS5. Then bullet. As in, reread lang, pipick upin lang yan ni Google Fetch niya, lalagay na niya sa featured snippet. So, by having a TLDR section, you are making things more simple for Google, and then, mas ini-increase mo yung chances na ma-pick up ka. So, for example, kung recipes yung ginagawa mo, the way that it could go wrong is, for example, sinigang na recipe yung fini-feature mo. Sa bawat ingredient, meron ka pang text na sinama. Kunyari, kangkong. Ano ang kangkong? Saan mabibili ang kangkong? Ganun. Okay lang, natural lang na magsulat ka nun, lalo na kung gusto mong gumawa ng skyscraper content. Pampahaba ng content yun eh. Correlated naman yan sa pag-rank sa natural rankings. Pero, if gagawin mong long form yung content mo, as in bawat isang step ng pagluluto ng sinigang, meron comprehensive na explanation. Bawat isang ingredient ng sinigang, may comprehensive explanation na tipong pati yung hipon, pati yung anatomy ng hipon, diniscuss mo na para lang mapahaba yung content mo. Okay lang yon. Pero, lagyan mo na lang ng TLDR section dun sa taas para madaling ma-pick up ni Google yung mga ingredients, pati yung mga steps sa pagluluto ng sinigang. Hindi na niya kailangang malaman kung saan parte ng Laguna de Bay natatagpuan yung mga hipon na pampasarap ng sinigang mo. Okay, next. Avoid writing fluff. Ano ang fluff? Yung fluff basically is yung words or sentences na hindi na kinakailangan sa isang article na ginagawa mo na lang sa pampahaba. Ito yung tipong habit mo nung grade school ka, tapos sa essay part ng test, hahabaan mo kahit paikot-ikot na lang yung explanation mo dahil alam mong hindi nag-check ng essay talaga yung teacher mo at pag nakita niya mahaba yung sagot mo, bibigyan ka niya agad ng mataas na grade. Sa Google, hindi masyadong nagwo-work yan kasi si Google has gotten a lot better in terms of its algorithms in distinguishing fluffy content from high quality content, and then may manual raters pa siya na tumitingin ng mga articles sa website na malalaman kung pinapahaba lang yung article for the sake na pahabain or talagang may substance yan na parang Wikipedia na nagwawarrant talaga ng discussion. So, isa sa mga pinakaayaw namin, especially sa agency namin, lalo na pag nag-a-apply yung mga writers, yung mga tipong fluff lang yung mga sinusulat na content. Kung walang masyadong katuturan yung content, walang specific na sinasabi, walang specific na names, figures, statistics, ganyan. Tablado sa amin yung mga ganyan. Alam namin medyo hinuhugot mo lang sa as mo yung yung content. So, avoid fluff doon sa content nyo. Mas maraming fluff, mas maliit yung chances na na mag-rank kayo. That's why you need a strong editorial culture and backbone within your agency or within your company para lahat yung content na dinalabas nyo, guaranteed na quality, tapos hindi ginawa for the sake of creating spam sa web. And then, ito, kung table naman, yung ino-optimize mo na search results, meron kasing katamaran minsan yung mga designer or yung mga SEO na tipong pag nakakita sila ng table, gagawin nilang image lang and then upload nila sa page and then yun na. Common sense lang naman sa mga SEO na medyo matagal nang nagpa-practice na kung image yung table mo, hindi talaga magra-rank yun as a featured snippet kasi hindi naman magaling magbasa talaga ng image si Google. Ang pinakamagandang pwede mong gawin if you're trying to optimize for a table featured snippet, dapat naka-code in HTML yan. Simpleng coding sa HTML, yun yung the best na mapipick up ni Google. Huwag mong subukan sa JavaScript, huwag mong subukan masyado sa sa ibang fancy na coding techniques. Gawin mo lang simple. Gawin mo lang HTML. Mas madaling mabasa ni Google at ma-identify na ito table to. Medyo swak siya dun sa query na to. Siya yung gagawin kong featured snippet. And then use sub-headlines appropriately and correctly. So use the H1 headline only for the main headline of the page. Hindi pwedeng dalawa yung main headline. Para mong sinabi sa akin na sa dyaryo, dalawa yung magkasing laki na headlines at magkatabi sila sa harap ng front page. Isa lang yung pwedeng maging main headline. Yun lang yung mag-express nung buong thought ng ng web page na yon. And then for the next headlines, the smaller headlines, the more minor subsections and sub-subsections, you can use H2, H3. Kung gusto mong umabot sa H4, pwede. Pero typically, main headline isa lang, and then H2 gagamitin sa sub-headlines ng mga importanteng sections ng content mo. And then, kung meron ang finer points, that's where you use H3. Dapat yung main headlines, yung mga header text mo, nagko-correspond dun sa query na ino-optimize mo sa featured snippet. Meaning, tipong kung yung gusto mong i-optimize na query would be something like, are frogs edible? Ganyan. If you want to optimize for something like that, then isa sa mga subsections, subheadlines mo or yung main headline mo, dapat nandun yung yung tanong na yon na are frogs edible? And then antemano dun sa sa paragraph na kasunod nung headline na yon, sinasagot mo na agad in 40 to 60 words kung nakakain ba ang palaka. Kahit nakakain ng palaka, tingin ko hindi mo siya dapat kainin. Okay. Tawag dito. Okay, yung last kong tip is to use appropriate images. Isa siya sa mga pinaka-underrated na parts ng featured snippet optimization sa tingin ko. Pero kung titignan mo kasi yung mga featured snippets, whether it's a query about a person, it's query about a recipe, a song, or whatever. Marami sa mga featured snippets gusto ni Google na naglalagay ng appropriate na image katabi, pampaganda. Kasi kung titignan nyo yung featured snippet kanina, more on text lang yon, whereas yung nandito sa sa example kong to, meron image. So, for example, tawag dito, yung query dito would be best SEO specialist in the Philippines. Ito, accidentally ko lang din nakita na na-featured snippet pala ako. Pero kung titingnan mo dito, bukod dun sa may description ako dito, na pinikap lang naman mula dun sa About Us na page namin. Naglagay kasi ako ng maraming mga images dyan na yung mga tipong nagsasalita sa conference and whatnot. Siguro nakita-kita ni Google na mukhang legit naman tong taong to, mukhang alam naman niya yung pinagsasabi niya. Ayan, mukhang naiimbitahan pa siyang natsatsambahan niya maimbitahan magsalita minsan sa conferences. Baka nga siya ang may deserve ng title na Best SEO Specialist in the Philippines. Pero kagaya nga ng sinasabi ko sa inyo, not all instant answers are correct. And ito, tingin ko hindi na naman tama to dahil clearly I'm not the best SEO specialist in the Philippines. That is someone else. And I am not the best Filipino SEO specialist. That happens to be Sir Benj. Although voter na siya sa Amerika, I don't know if that still applies. So, yun lang. Ganda niyo yung mga images. Mas high resolution, mas maganda. Pero wag sobrang lalaki at sobrang high-res na tipong bibigat na yung page mo at babagal na yung loading times niya. Medyo balansehin nyo rin yung quality dun sa bigat ng image file. And with that, yun lang yung mga tips ko sa featured image optimization. And Sir Benjan, I will entertain questions later na siguro after he presents. So, Sir Benj.
Okay. So, I believe many people know me. Marami nakakilala sa akin. Pero dahil luma na ako, hindi na ako ganong updated. Di na rin ako nag-vlog. Di na rin ako ganong nag-speak. Parang nakakatamad na. Pero hindi nakakatamad mag-SEO. Nakakatamad minsan mag-vlog about SEO. So, just to briefly give a brief history. So basically started as a chemist for some time, became a web designer, web developer, started SEO in 2004, played around with social media, played around with paid search. There was a time where I was working in a laboratory kasi chemist nga eh. Tapos nalipat sa mga digital marketing agency, may time na naging in-house, tapos may time na naging parang sa mga tech companies. Tapos may period na empleyado ako, may period na businessman ako, may period na empleyado uli ako. Ayun. Tingin ko kung nasa Philippines pa ako, baka nasa business side pa rin. Pero nang nasa US minsan winaway mo yun, parang mas madali mag-empleyado na lang. And country, so parang more than half of my working life, mas malaki na yung US by a few years. So, ayun. And I've spoken at conferences in 4 different countries, 20 cities since 2007. Hindi na dagdagan yung number na yan mula 2018. Nagka-COVID pa. And then aside from that, I've won multiple competitions. Puro mga ranking contest, hindi na rin uso yan ngayon. Nanalo ng mga cash prize and nanalo ng bagong kotse sa mga ibang SEO contests. Okay. So, nung inisip ko, ano bang gagawin kong agenda ng pag-uusapan natin? Ginawa ko lang yung 4 Ws and 1 H. 4 Ws, yung what, where, why, who. And then H is how. Although some of this were tackled by Glenn, so baka skip over ko yung iba. Kung medyo similar, kung hindi, edi I'll expand on it. So, let's go straight into it. First one, what is it? Ano ba ang Hindi ko na sabi nga ni Glenn sa slide niya, there's already a definition online na pwede mong ipopost niya. I think he used Moses one. I'm using Google's definition, exact same thing. Featured snippets are on your website. It's a special box, nakasulat yung answer, andun yung question, skip ko na yan. Now, names changes. Names change over the years. Bago pa lumabas yung featured snippet, bago pa lumabas yung box na yun sa ibabaw, everything that you refer to nakahalo ng search results are called universal search results. Yung basta hinaluan ng ibang bagay, hinaluan ng image, hinaluan ng map, hinaluan ng video, parang ang tawag lang noon, part ng universal search results yan. yung results pwedeng haluan ng ibang bagay. And then nung unang lumabas yung question and answer, yung many SEOs called it the answer box, but it was not an official Google term. Google was not calling it answer box, but many SEOs were calling it answer box. Anong year yan? Hindi ko na maalala. Kayo na bahala mag-research. Kapos na rin ako sa time para bigyan yung konting history. Pero, and then Google came out with an official name. They first officially called it instant answers. And then, after some time, binago nila yung pangalan, ginawa nilang featured snippets. Now, historical, hindi masyadong nakakatulong yan kung paano yan gawin. Kaya ko lang mini-mention because sometimes you might read some materials, old blog posts, old ebooks or whatever, or even some tools. There are some tools like rank monitoring tools, rank checking tools, na sometimes they label the results as instant answer results, but they're really referring to the featured snippets. Probably the tools these days, all of them have updated it, but just in case they haven't, os gamit nila old terminology, at least you know what they are talking about. Okay? So, where does it appear? Alam na natin yan sa pinakatuktok, sabi nga ni Glenn. Because kaya ko lang pinagtabi yung dalawang screenshot na to kasi yung isa hindi question, yung isa question. And porket naging question yung isa, makikita mo siya sa kaliwa, it's ranking number 5 organically. Yung kagaya ng kwento ni Glenn kanina, at least when the 1 to 6 ba ang sinabi mong number, at least in the top 1 to 6 positions, has a higher chance going on top. And again, ayan, I didn't even make this page. This is the page of the organizers of SMX. Yung bio page ko ang nagra-rank. And it's no longer even updated with the information there. And I never really optimized for myself for a very long time. So, ayun. So, everyone already knows where it appears. No need to expand on that. Why is Google doing this? Bakit kaya? Kasi yun nga, di ba? Yung user experience ng gumagamit ng search engine. But usually when Google does something, they're also testing something. And when they're testing something, they also want to gather data. Okay? So in the world today, na nauuso na yung mga smart speakers, si Google Home, tsaka si Alexa, tsaka Alexa, turn off the bright lights. Oh. Yan, mawawalang ilaw ko. Ayun. Hey Google, turn off. Hindi, wag na. Alexa, turn on the bright lights. Hey Google, turn off the bedroom lights. Ayan.
Internet of Things na, sir.
Yeah,
sir, wala bang tao nakatago dyan na nag-on-off lang?
Wala. So, ayun. Meron ako Alexa, meron akong Google Home. Marami akong smart devices. Tinatanong ko lagi ang weather, tinatanong ko ang temperature, at tinatanong ko ang standing ng election ko noon tinatanong ko. Pero anyway, Google, napansin based on research na most people, when they're making a query on a smart speaker, it's always in the form of a question. So Google needed a way to understand questions. So dito na naimbento yung featured snippet, yung answer box. You could already tell it was the earlier stages of Google deciphering if the query is a question or not. And if it's a question, what is the best answer? Kasi yung smart speaker, hindi naman mag-i-enumerate ng mahabang list yan eh. Parang magbibigay lang ng isang result na sana tugmang-tugma. So doon na naimbento yung buong featured snippet. Now, just a small trivia thing. There was an old service dito sa US. It was called 401 GOOG, or I don't know if it was GOOG 401. It's one of the two. But basically, idadial mo yan sa US sa phone. Hindi na ata enabled ngayon. But anywhere in the US, when you call that number, pwede ka magtanong ng phone number ng kahit ano, and hahanapin ni Google, ibibigay niya yung sagot. There's no operator, it was purely verbal, iniintindi niya yung salita mo, and then bibigay niya yung nahanap niya. Even though it's not in a directory listing of their own, they're just scouring the web to kind of find that phone number. Sasabihin naman niya kung close match or kung hindi close match yung phone number na nakita niya. But that service was created for Google to understand the different accents dito sa US kasi iba-iba yung accent ng tao, iba-ibang way yung pagsalita nila, iba-ibang way yung pag-pronounce. And it made the smart speakers better. But in order for the smart speakers to understand questions, dun na lumabas yung featured snippet. It's part of the algo. So once you're ranking well in the featured snippets, there's a high chance ikaw yung sagot sa ano, ikaw yung sagot sa smart speaker. Okay. Now, how do you optimize for it? Okay, so some of these Glenn went through, and kung kung sakaling parang redundant, hindi ko na itatackle ng malalim. So is there a tag to remove it? Siyempre, meron tag. Ayaw mo ng featured snippet, pwede natin tanggalin. Is there a tag to add it? Wala. So may tag para magtanggal, pero walang tag para mag-add. Parang it's awarded to you. Now, if it's awarded to you, parang similar din siya sa ano, sa site links, it's awarded to you. There's no tag to add it, but you could go into Webmaster Tools to remove it. Search Console. Sabi ko Webmaster Tools. And if ever you're interested on the specific tags, ayan yung no snippet, max snippet, you could simply Google that, go to the help page, very easy to implement. I'm not gonna go deep into that. How to get feature snippets. So first is, Google doesn't have a guide. Wala silang guide na binibigay. Na meron silang mga small hints here and there, pero hindi talaga siya step by step kung paano. Now, different SEOs in the world have different guides. Kahit mag-search ka lang sa Google how do you optimize for feature snippets? Madaming lalabas na sagot. Lalo na yung mga taong gustong maging authority on the topic. They truly optimize for it para sumikat din sila. Now, what I'm going to share is what worked for me. Okay? So whatever I'm doing is based on my own experience and kung ano nag-work sa akin. If ever a different SEO, may nabasa ka online, may nabasa kang blog post, sabi ni SEO ganito, magganito ka raw, hindi mo nang binanggit Sir Benj, ganyan. Hindi ko na kinailangan kaya hindi ko ginawa. Ayun. So I'm just gonna mention ko anong gumana sa akin and anong ginawa ko. Okay, so first thing, keyword research, gaya ng sabi ni Glenn. It starts with keyword research. Now, I like looking for questions about a specific topic. Answer the Public is a good tool. It's answerthepublic.com, I believe. And you type in any keyword, and then it comes up with, based on their tool, I believe it is based on Google suggestions, the autocomplete suggestions. And ginagather niya together yung mga keywords na based on what type of question. Maybe it's even good to just quickly do that right now. Just quickly do one query for those that are not aware. Oops, bakit answer lang tinype ko? Answer the Public. And then any type of product or keyword or industry or whatever, ano bang nasa isip nyo? Mahid nga yung bookmarks ko kung ano nakasulat. Ayan. Ito, ay, pati mga recent searches to Ano na lang, dog food na lang, cat food na lang, cat food. Ayan, search. Okay, so I typed in cat food as my main word. So if you're doing SEO for a specific client, specific person, specific service, simply type in what that service is. I suggest do it the generic non-branded keyword, and also try the actual branded keyword, what people are searching for. And then you could see how this is sorted. It's already sorted into the different questions. Why? Why cat food smells bad? Why cat food is bad for dogs? Which cat food is best? Which cat food is this? Now, based on this tool, they claim that it is pulling from Google suggestions and the autocomplete suggestions, and autocomplete suggestions are based on search volume too. So the fact that it's listed here means people are actually searching for that question. And if people are searching for that question, then it's good to optimize for. Okay. And balik tayo. This comes up with a nice, infographic-like image. However, you could also download the data. So, pwede ka mag-download CSV, makukuha mo siya as a CSV file. So, makukuha mo lahat ng question. Now, balik tayo. Filtering through other keyword research tools. Now, there are many keyword research tools. Gaya nga din ang sabi ni Glenn, Google Keyword Planner, SEMrush, and all the others. Now, if you look at these words that kind of classify your phrases as questions, aside from the 4 W's and an H, when, what, who, why, and how, there's also which, can something do this, are cat food, whatever, will a cat do whatever. So there are more words that could phrase something as a question aside from the 4 H's and a W. Now, what I like doing, and I will briefly show something. This is one of my keyword research documents. I pulled this from SEMrush. It's the raw export of keywords related to a specific site. And then I pull in data from Answer the Public, where it might be small on your screen, but you could see that I grouped them together based on the type of question. And you could see the modifier word na kasama. Na kasama are. Yan. If I filter this down to questions lang, I'll just go to questions. And questions. And then you could see dito sa modifiers are, can, how, what, which, where. So I could already group these based on that. Now, aside from that, and I'm not going to go deeply in explaining this, but I'm just going to highlight one column. I'm going to highlight one column that I like using. I call this answer box opportunities. It's this column, and I will zoom in a little bit. And it's almost like a flag that I could filter down to the keywords that are questions. And then you could see all my keywords are questions here. But if you're gonna stare at the formula here, it's a very long formula. But I'm basically looking for the same words. Hinahanap ko yung how, will, which, why, what, how, whatever. Pag lumabas sila sa phrase, flag ko as an answer box opportunity. And then it gets added to my short list of keywords that I could target possibly for answer boxes. Okay. I'm not sharing that file, by the way. That is a quick preview. Anyways, the main thought there is you could use Answer the Public. You could see how they categorize keywords into questions. You could use that same categorization with other keyword research tools to group them together as questions and find your questions there. Okay. Now, note, since these questions tend to be long, they are long tails, and sometimes they have so small search volume, of course. The longer the tail, the smaller the search volume. But just bear that in mind, because sometimes if you're showing this to a boss or to somebody else in the company or the client itself, and they say, why are we targeting this keyword? Ang liit ng search volume, bakit ko pa isasama? And then you start to explain because of the opportunity of the answer box or the featured snippet. Since I've been doing SEO before it was called featured snippet, what normally comes out of my mouth is answer box instead of feature snippet. So, of course, I mean the same thing. Okay. So other things, optimizing the content. Maybe some of these Glenn has already mentioned. Always consider the length of the answer. I didn't do any research based on the number of words, but what I typically do is the answer should be around 1 to 2 sentences, at the most 3. Wag mo nang sobrahan sa 3. Think of it as an elevator pitch to the dumbest person. Sa taong walang kaalam-alam sa topic na to, paano mo sasabihin ng pinaka-naiintindihan na pinaka-maiksi, na direct to the point? And aside from text, if it's visual, consider adding images and adding videos. And what Glenn showed earlier na may picture sa tabi ng paragraph, based on experience, I like that image tag to be near the question para hindi siya mamili ng ibang image. If you think that the image, you want to consider an image to be the image of your answer box, keep that image very close to your question. And of course, the answer. So the question, the answer, but the image is very near there. The image tag is near your intended answer box. When you have current or real-time data, sometimes people ask for schedules, they ask for scores, they ask for certain events. Keep the data structured. And when I say the data structured, Glenn kind of mentioned this. Pag may table ka, wag mong gawing image, gawin mong table. And tables are structured. You're putting data in columns and rows, and that's called structured data. And of course, to help out with that, use schema.org markup. This even adds more to the structure. Now, does this really help in the answer box? Is it really necessary? You could still get the answer box even without schema.org. However, when it comes to data, there are some that are related to events, related to scores, related to schedules. It's nice to add these para mas lalong alam ni Google, ito talaga yun, event ito, or whatever you're tagging. Whenever you have a query that has a how, this is where I like using enumerated lists because they're steps. And consider doing a how-to video, lalo na kung nakakalito. Sometimes they put the video on top of your enumerated steps. I think I've noticed this how to salsa dance, I think. I was comparing the dance salsa and the making salsa, the salsa dip, and just observing how Google treats them. And I've noticed on the dance, aside from adding steps, they put a video on top. So just note that sa answer box. Sometimes how-to videos you could put videos in. How-to queries you could put videos in them. Try to add a call to action. Okay. Always try to encourage to read more. Now, this is hard. Kasi pag sinabi mo lang sa dulo, read more. Baka hindi isama sa featured snippet. Baka maputol na lang dun. Hindi na nila isama. But if a topic could be expanded on, then you could, and I always said 1 to 2 sentences. Your first answer is almost like the direct answer to your question. And the second sentence is almost like for more advanced whatever, read more about something, or for more detailed something. Parang ito yung sagot. Pero kung gusto mo pa ng mas malalim, hindi mo nga sasabihin click here eh. Or kung gusto mo pa ng mas malalim, magbasa ka pa ng tungkol dito. But since you are the link right below in that answer box, it's almost encouraging to read your page kasi there's more information about it. Why do I encourage to do this? Because there are some people that claim once I get the answer box, my traffic goes down. Hindi na binibisita ng tao. Bakit? Kasi nasagot na yung tanong niya eh. Nagtatanong ako sa Google, nasagot na yung tanong ko, bakit ko pa bibisitahin yung site? That's why there are some people that disable the answer box because they claim their traffic goes down. Na ang sagot ko dun is try to have some kind of call to action. Just say that there's more details, there's more advanced information, there's more to learn, deeper understanding, whatever words you use. Your creative writer should be good at this. Try to entice them. Mas marami pa kung pag binisita mo to. Without even saying, binisita mo to. Kasi oras na sinabi mo, visit our site or something, hindi yung kasama sa hindi yung kasama sa sagot, sa answer box, or sa featured snippet. Okay? Now, on this next slide is old unedited presentation. Dahil kinapos sa oras, meron lang akong lumang presentation. It was presented internally sa isang company kung saan ako tatrabaho noon. Pinis ko lang lahat ng slides niya, unedited. So I'm not even sure if all of this is updated. Kung may hindi updated, sasabihin ko na lang. But ayun, I'll just go through them. See, old presentation, the answer box ang tawag. Dito, I was just talking about it. I was just showing where it appears. Okay? And then the answer box. Ano nang kwento ko dito? Ayan. Maraming mga ibang pwedeng lumabas sa results. Answer box, knowledge graph, universal search results, rich snippets. Bakit putol lahat to? Ayun, parang kwento ko, ano yung mga dapat mong gawin for each one? Anong mga dapat mong gawin? Public data, related words, etc., etc. Pero ang gusto ko lang sabihin dito is, in most cases, yung best practices ng on-page and off-page, halos pareho lang. Optimize mo yung title, optimize mo yung heading, gamitin mo yung correct keywords, and so on, quality yung content mo, etc. Now, for the rest that are not for answer boxes, but optimizing for them generally should help overall. So, just continue with everything. I think I could go through each bullet point in a lot of details, but in the interest of time, I will simply skip those. Now, this was taken from a blog post by Moz. Types of answer boxes. Ano yung mga tipong mga types of results na lumalabas? Height, birthday, yan. People and relationships, naka-group, athletes and sports, etc., etc. Yung pinakamadalas siguro is definitions. Madalas lumabas yung definitions tsaka list. So, just looking at this list before starting with the client and just seeing ano bang nag-a-apply dito sa kliyente ko ng SEO or sa sarili kong website or sa pinagtatrabahuan ko. Sa ano bang pwede nating gamitin? And if you find something applicable, then use it and create content for that. Okay. This is a case study. I-skip ko na lang, pero ano bang gusto kong palabasin dito? Ito, organic conversions, yung glossary nila, ang lakas mag-convert. This website had a glossary. Sinasabi ko ba yung website? Okay, good. Kasi dapat hindi ko sabihin. May acronym nga lang, may acronym yung website. Pero this was pulled from their Google Analytics accounts. And their glossary pages generally had high conversions. So just noting that. The traffic was low though, but that graph was for conversions. Now, love-hate relationship. Kakakwento ko pa lang nito, sometimes nasasagot na yung tanong, hindi na bibisitahin ng tao. But, na-mention na rin ni Glenn to, if you don't optimize for it, and then other sites could optimize for it, di nawalan ka lang, di ba? So, imbis na tanggalin mo, might as well optimize for it. Kung feeling mong bumababa ang traffic mo, if ever for those that do click through, at least sa'yo pupunta, imbis na sa ibang company at yung answer box nila. Lastly, branding. Kahit hindi nila i-click, constant nila nakikita yung domain mo, which is part of your brand. And lalo nilang nakikilala, lalo kang nagiging thought leader. When it comes to a time when they do need your service, they remember you and they might search you out. And branded search na, diretso na sa site ng client. Now, ano pang mga kwento ko? Kwento ko na to because this is an old presentation using the block code. That is one thing that you could do. Some tags that you might want to consider, definition tags, because it is a definition. I didn't always do this, but I did on one of the sites that even had the data, yung may graph ng conversions. I actually use these tags. Nakatulong ba siya o hindi? Malay ko. But based on definition, the DT and the DL, the DD is a definition term. Definition list, definition term, definition data. You are defining something. Okay. Based on experience, FAQ pages generally don't rank well in answer boxes or featured snippets. I don't know if everyone has the same experience, but all my clients that had FAQ pages, they were not appearing. Answer boxes appeared more for pages dedicated to the question. Instead of a page na ang daming question, mas ang daming sagot. Minsan ang feeling ko I feel that the topic gets diluted and it's no longer a page that's solid about that single question. Another thing, tignan mo yung ginagawa ng competitor mo, gayahin mo. Ayun lang. Shadowing. Still think of the user, pay attention how information is shared. Enclosing the definition in a box or adding a line separator from the rest of the content. And then Google pays attention to what users like. If the main definition can be pulled out by a human, most probably it could be pulled out by a search engine. So kung ang tao parang lumalabas yung sagot habang binabasa mo, malamang sa Google lumalabas din yung sagot. How-tos in headings, quick bullet points, redundant, medyo nabanggit ko na ito. Medyo redundant na yung iba dito. This is generally knowledge graph, not the answer box. So I'm skipping that. And then who could do it? Everyone could do it. You could do it. So sa mga developer, anong mga nasa isip nyo? It's still the basics, still the same thing. The question, make sure it's in the title. You use your heading tags. Your heading tags, nabanggit na ni Glenn kanina, H1, H2, H3, yung hierarchy nun. You could put your whole answer in a block quote, especially if it's a quote of someone. And then sa mga ordered list mo, kung list of steps or list of top things, di syempre yung UL, OL, LI gagamitin mo. If it's a definition, DL, DDDT. Kung sasamaan mo ng image tsaka video, syempre yung video tsaka image tag. And consider using schema. And for writers, always think of questions to answer and answer succinctly. Now, another tip for rank tracking tools, many of them has a way to indicate kung featured snippet yung result sa rank tracking tool mo. So at least you could monitor how that is going. And what I liked before at doing this, I had clients where taas-baba sila sa featured snippet. Minsan yung kalaban nila, pabalik-balik. And when they go up and down, nakikita mo yung correlation niya sa organic traffic. But not all of them. There are some clients na, may featured snippet, taas yung organic traffic, walang featured snippet, baba. Pero meron mga ibang business, walang pinag-aiba. Natingin ko yun yung mga businesses that don't click on the featured snippet. But people that the businesses that click on the featured snippet, nakikita mo yung effect sa analytics. And that ends it.
Quick suggestions from Jason and Mark. They were just trying to add additional.
Sinong Jason to?
Acidre.
Share ko lang yung sa if in case na kunyari yung tinatrabaho yung website, medyo established na. May mga tools kagaya na SEMrush at Ahrefs. Doon kayo pwede magsimula na para i-identify nyo na rin kung yung mga pages ba ng sites na tinatrabaho nyo. Meron ng mga pages na nagko-compete for featured snippets. So, kadalasan ginagawa ko every month, naglilista lang ako ng mga yung medyo malapit na kaming mag-rank. And lately, medyo mas pinagtetest ko yung yung sa WordPress kasi diba meron na yung Yoast na parang talaga mag-add ng schema for how-tos and FAQs. Same as Benj and Glenn. Di rin ako sure kung gumagana sila since minsan nananakaw mo din talaga kagad yung mga featured snippets pagka may konti ka lang na may-notify sa page. Especially kung yung inayos mo lang yung proximity ng question dun sa answer. Kadalasan yun yung gumagana sa amin And yun, pagka sinimplify mo lang yung answer. Ito, sample lang, sa isang site namin. Meron kaming parang 11,000 keywords na pwedeng i-work on when it comes to capturing yung featured snippet results. And yun, pwede mo siyang i-export na lang, tapos check mo kung ano yung konti na lang yung gagawin mo. Tapos pwede ka na mag-compete or kung ano yung mga matataas yung search volume. And share ko lang din yung sa yung bago, yung passage na passage indexing, feeling ko medyo malaki yung impact niya sa featured snippets din. Na, kasi kadalasan before, yung iba yung ginagawa, parang yung title tag yung mismong pinapalitan in order to compete for placement sa mga featured snippets. But I think ito, more on optimization na talaga ng headers tsaka yung placement ng mismong direct answer mo dun sa question na yun. And ako medyo excited daw dito kasi parang feeling ko magbe-benefit dito yung mga talagang comprehensive yung mga content tsaka mga parang Wikipedia style yung Kaya ako parang lately yun yung mga ginagawa namin. Pero nag-shift na rin ako sa yung na-share din ni Glenn kanina, parang TLDR. Parang gusto ko ngayon pagka gumawa ng content, yung bungad kagad, parang TLDR. Para yun kagad yung makuha ng mga users, saka yun din yung unang makrol ng search engines. Actually, yun lang. Yun lang naman, parang karamihan naman na-share na nila Benj, saka nila ni Glenn.
Two small things na may mention ko. Doon sa TLDR, isa pa sa gusto ko, aside sa opportunity ng featured snippet, ano siya, nakakabawas din siya ng bounce rate sa mga taong na-overwhelm sa mahaba. Yung bounce rate, parang factor din yan sa ranking. Pag hinit kagad yung back button, punta sa iba, parang, may short version, dito muna ako, hindi muna ako aalis. May kiklik pa ako. Kasi yung isa pang feedback ko nung pinapakita ni Jason yung screen, kung ano man sa Ahrefs, tapos nakita ko lang yung word na registration, kung tungkol saan man yung site and whatever. Pero napansin ko, and uso yan dito sa US, when you're signing up for something, you're registering for something na usually government-related na form, tapos may tanong siya na hindi mo alam sagutin, madaming pinapaste yung mismong tanong sa Google tapos lumalabas yung answer box. So kung may client ka na may mahabang form na dapat pilapan, tapos yung tao hindi alam paano pilapan yung form, gawa answer box opportunity halos lahat ng halos lahat ng field na mahirap pilapan.
Actually, yung TLDR, parang iniisip ko nga, ang tagal na nating nagsusulat ng comprehensive content. Bakit ngayon lang nauso yan? Well, at least sa akin, like, na pwede nga palang gawin yan para pampabawas ng bounce. Kung di pa ako nagbabasa nung nagre-research ng gaming hardware lately, hindi ko maiisip. Mark, baka may gusto ko pang i-share para.
Share ko lang din. Nagsimula ako magkaroon ng interest sa ganong approach. Kasi merong mga news sites na ganun yung ginagawa. Parang bago yung mismong body ng news, parang naka-bullet points na yung mga key points ng story. Tapos naisip ko, parang mas okay na in terms of user experience, saka siguro rankings na rin. Kung may tanong ka about a specific topic, tapos naka-bullet points na, feeling ko napipick up din ni Google and mapipick up na rin eventually.
Sir Mark, nandiyan ka pa ba? Baka may ma-share ka para sa e-commerce.
So, we at Growth Rocket, we did a lot of tests dito sa featured snippets. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Kita namin, sarili namin.
Okay. Sige. So, we do a lot of that. We did a lot of tests featured snippets, and share ko lang din yung process of how we kind of exploited this. No? So, one of the things that we realized is that it's always easier for you to steal featured snippet placements than to hope to get new placements from Google. So if Google is not serving a featured snippets, then chances are para ma-influence mo siya na magkaroon ng featured snippet for a specific question, mas mahirap yon. So what we did was we went after existing featured snippets and finding opportunities there. And the way we did that is by reverse engineering, and also what Benj and everyone was saying kanina, keyword research and everything, that's valid. But through reverse engineering, what you can do is, for example, parid.com. From here, you can filter to pretty much featured snippets, which we are filtered to right now. And these are all your keywords. And if you notice, some of them don't even have what, where, when, how. But they do have featured snippets. It doesn't have to be a question is the main thing to think about here. So you can go and reverse engineer competitors. You can also go through sites like Quora. Quora has it's mainly known for questions, and you can check kung ano yung mga featured snippet placements nila doon, and filter by just filtering by the keyword, a specific keyword or category. For example, you're looking for opportunities in spark plugs, so you might want to put spark plugs and search Quora.com and filter it to domain ranks 2 featured snippet. So that's one way of doing it. So as far as once you get those opportunities, the next thing you do is actually writing the content. So this is where it's a little more tough dito. So for example, this specific question has about 1,300 searches per month, and the featured snippet is from car ID. But what you can do is you obviously want to get the top pages that Google sees as relevant for that query. So what you can do is you can exclude carid.com. It'll pull up the next featured snippet that Google sees as being relevant. And if you do another one, .org, now you see a different site. So now you have these 3 sites that you can kind of compare, and you can look at the content that they have. The goal is to create 10x content. Doesn't have to be super duper long, but it has to be comprehensive enough that you're covering a lot of these, top 3 pieces of content. Another
Curious ako sa result na yan. The ellipsis, yung dot, magkahiwalay talaga yan sa content.
aling ito?
Ayan o,
Yeah.
cylinders, dot, talagang 2 sections ang content pinaghilaan niya.
Yeah.
Oo, nice.
So this is a way, it's iba yung sentence na yan. So it's a way for you to kind of get the top sites where you can kind of compare all of the top sites that Google sees as being relevant to that query, and creating content based on that. Now, pagdating naman sa format, tama rin yung sinabi earlier about yung structure ng content, H1s, H2s, H3s, even yung TLDRs. But another thing that I found very useful was something that Dejan SEO mentioned before, which was writing content yung inverted pyramid style. So basically, when you write a piece of content, put all of the important information at the top of the article and work your way down. That way you retain you retain your users' interest, and also at the same time, most likely ang mangyayari niyan, you will be answering the question, if it's what is a spark plug. Again, the top information should be yung pinaka informative. So yun, those are the 3 things that I just wanted to share with you guys. How to find opportunities, how to create the content, and how to reverse engineer. Yun.
Okay, thank you. John, may questions ba?
Yeah, we have 2 questions actually. The first one from Gabriel Valimento. Let's say we've implemented all the tips and the page is ranking in the top 5. What is the average time per your experience to wait for Google to award the feature snippet?
Sa experience namin, almost immediate. Baka hindi ko lang napansin na nag-rank ng matagal na, pero mukhang nung tumaas, parang halos nandun na agad eh. So para sa akin, walang masyadong lead time yan. I'm not sure with Sir Benj, Jason, and Marc kung ano experience nila.
Pag walang
Same.
kalaban, mabilis. Pero pag may kalaban, depende.
Right.
Minsan naman kung featured snippet talaga yung query, forever ka nang maghihintay, hindi pa rin siya, wala pa rin lalabas dyan.
It's usually in my experience, it's usually the next cache date that that Google sees. Typically, dun mo makikita. I mean, assuming na worthy yung content mo for a featured snippet, then the next cache date, that should be the time when Google.
In fairness, Gab, sa lahat naman ng ranking factors, parang mabagal lang naman ng effect links talaga eh. Yung mga on page tsaka yung mga technical, medyo next cache date, medyo mararamdaman mo na sila. Ano yung next question, John?
Okay, a question from Timothy Richico. Medyo nasagot ni Sir Marc kanina, but I wanted to give the other speakers and guests a chance to answer. what are the things you look for to be able to, in the words of the question asker, what things do you look for to be able to steal? I guess maybe he meant incorporate, repurpose, for a featured snippets from the website.
You guys want to go ahead? Sir Benj, Jason?
Very similar kay Mark. SEMrush user din ako. There's a competitor search din dun. I wasn't doing the exact thing, which I'm happy at naririnig ko ang process ni Mark. But I generally just start with a competitor list. Mas dun sa competitor list, tinitignan ko lang, I use the domain compare, the comparing what keywords your competitors have that you don't have. To get the keyword gap. I think keyword gap is what they put on the navigation sa SEMrush. And once I do that, then I filter by featured snippets. Then I see what the competitors have. Tapos yun na rin ang tatargeting ko.
Yung sa akin, medyo marami akong ginawang test din. Yung isa, pagka list yung tinatry ko nakawin, gagawa ko ng list pero gagawin kong table para magbago yung mismong result na i-display dun sa ano. So, dati list siya, nagiging table. So, mas mahihirapan mag-compete ulit or nakawin yung snippet kapag naging table na siya. And yung sa paragraphs, same with Marc, ganun din. Parang syempre, compare mo yung top 3 na ranking or nagko-compete dun sa result na yun. Plus, yung isang trick na ginagawa ko, hindi ko sure kung gumagana siya, pero internal links, bali anchor text na, especially kung paragraph, mostly definition yan eh. So kung gusto mo mag-rank dun sa mga main head terms, mas nagdadagdag lang ako ng internal links na yung anchor text is yung mismong search term na nag-rank, na kailangan kong mag-rank for the rich snippet. Actually, medyo yun lang.
Sa akin, maraming link, exact match, anchor text. Hindi, joke lang. Dito. Punto si Jason eh. Para sa akin, tignan mo yung competitors mo tapos exploit mo lang kung saan sila mahina. Pinaka-common na weakness, yung proximity ng tanong dun sa sagot. Kung dun sila mahina, try mong ilapit yung image saka yung direct answer dun sa naka H2 or H3 na question. Sometimes that does the trick. All the other tips ni Sir Benj, Marc, and Jason, yun na lahat yung pwedeng iba to. Pag ayaw talaga, hanap ka na lang ng ibang i-optimize mo.
One last thing to add din siguro is there are a few instances that hindi namin makuha yung placement, but we changed the title to be more of an exact match of a question, and that tipped things over. So you might want to play around then with yung titles ng article, yung H1s and whatnot.
Legit yan palitan ng title tag, Legit pala talaga yan. Kala ko nung una medyo pero
yung H1
naniniwala na ako.
Yung H1 mismo.
Yung H1 mismo.
Oo. So
okay.
Just forming it into a question usually does the trick then. But again, it's different every time. So
nung pinapakita ni Marc kanina yung query na ini-exclude yung mga ibang domain, tapos yung number 3 yung nakasplit yung content. Isipin mo kung yung number 1 nakasplit. Tapos papasok ka ngayon. Gagawin ko lang magkadikit. Iurong ko lang pataas, tatalunin ko na to. So pag may nakita ka ng answer box na may ... opportunity.
Pagbuuin mo lang
pagbuuin mo lang.
Ayos. May questions pa ba, John?
From Rabbi Omen.
Sige.
If you want to ask
sorry, medyo. Question lang for Sir Jason Acidre. Sir, na-mention nyo kanina na gumagamit kayo ng schema from Yoast. Na-try nyo na po ba sa isang article na gamitin yung FAQ page na schema to highlight na yung mga question and answer? Kasi na-mention kanina ni Sir Benj na hindi masyadong nagra-rank sa featured snippet itong mga FAQ page. May possibility ba na may isip ni bot na FAQ page to although article siya?
Yeah, actually kasi yung FAQs namin, hindi talaga siya FAQ page. Basically, ano siya, parang, kunyari, meron kaming content na extensively dinidiscuss yung isang topic. Tapos meron kami mga questions and answers na hindi namin alam kung paano i-categorize. So ginagawa namin, parang meron na lang kaming sa pinaka-bottom part ng page na parang FAQs about, parang iba pang related na FAQs about dun sa topic na yan. Tapos yung ginawa namin siguro mga March or April, lahat ng mga ganun namin, parang pinalitan na namin, ginamit na namin yung sa Yoast nga, yung parang FAQ schema. And so far, siguro nakatulong kasi hindi naman din namin na talaga na-monitor yung yung mga individual questions na kung nag-rank ba sila. Although, right now, parang siguro mga nasa more than 6,000 yung featured snippets na kami yung may hawak. So parang try ko isa-isahin tapos share ko next time. Pero yung kaya lang din namin siya ginawa kasi parang feeling ko dagdag advantage din yun eh. Once na yung page mo is dinadirect yung si Google na eto mga to, FAQ, para FAQ section. So kung meron mga questions na may mga queries na mention sa page namin and eligible kami mag-rank, at least alam nila na may ganun kami. Parang ganun yung thinking ko behind dun sa action na yun. Although yun nga, yung parang mga bago kasing updates ng Google, feeling ko moving towards dun na parang mismo mga parts ng pages, kaya nila mag-rank individually. Hindi mo na kailangan gumawa ng parang separate page to answer a specific question. Parang ganun. Kaya feeling ko, tama lang din na kung may FAQ page ka, siguro gawa mo na lang din ng schema. Parang parang dagdag edge, dagdag advantage.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Follow up lang about sa article. Di ba itong SEOs, may pre-schema na siya na nakakabit, usually article or web page. Kapag mag-add kayo ng schema, ang ginagawa niyo po ba, sir? Nag-graph na lang kayo or nag-add kayo as another script para maging multiple schema na lang yung isang page?
Actually, hindi mo na siya kailangan gawin kung yung blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi, di ba yung Gutenberg, parang gets na kagad ni Google na merong certain elements yung page mo na may certain function. Kagaya ng FAQ, how-to section, video, parang ganun. So parang hindi na necessary na mag-add ka pa ng additional scripts since aside from babagal, parang medyo nakaka-confuse din siya.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yan lang po.
Okay. So, yun. That's all the time we have. Pero yung mga experts naman natin dito are all on SEO or all on Facebook. Tawag dito. Pwede nyo naman silang tanungin individually. So, Sir Benj, thank you so much for sharing again. Jason tsaka si Mark ang aming late backup. So thank you so much guys. Hopefully next week or if not next week, after the next kita tayo ulit. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye. Thank you.